India just made one of the boldest industrial bets in its entire history. And if you're a business owner, actually, an entrepreneur, or even just someone who pays attention to where money flows, you need to understand what's actually being built here. Let's start with Applied Materials, one of the largest semiconductor equipment companies on the planet. They're dropping $400 million into a collaborative engineering center right here in Bangalore, spread over the next 4 years. Now, that number alone is huge, but here's where it gets really interesting. That single investment is projected to catalyze around $2 billion in ecosystem investments around it. Think of it like a new airport landing in your city. The airport itself costs a few thousand crore to build, but suddenly, hotels, logistics firms, retail chains, and cab services all pile in around it. That's the multiplier effect we're talking about. One anchor, massive ripple. Now switch over to Gujarat, and you've got Micron Technology, a global memory chip giant, putting in $2.75 billion for an assembly and test facility in Sanand. And this one's significant for a different reason. It's the first major win under India's Semiconductor mission, a government program backed by over 160,000 crore rupees, committed specifically to building a domestic chip industry from the ground up. So why should you care? Because India's semiconductor sector currently sits at around $30 to $35 billion. The government's target, cross $100 billion by 2030. That's nearly tripling the industry in under 6 years. The last time India attempted anything at this scale, the IT services boom of the 1990s, and we all know how that turned out. Entire new cities, millions of jobs, a whole generation of entrepreneurs who got in early and built empires. This isn't a government press release story. It's the foundation of a brand new industrial ecosystem. And in the next segment, we're going to get into exactly who's going to benefit from it and how. Now, here's where it gets real for you. Who actually wins when a shift this big happens? And more importantly, where does your business land? Every massive industry shift plays out the same way. Some people ride the wave, some get washed out, and most people don't even realize which side they're on until it's already happened. So let's be honest about both sides. The most direct winners right now are companies already inside India's semiconductor supply chain. Think to Tata Group, Keynes Technology, CG Power. These players are positioned right in the path of contracts, technology transfers, and long-term partnerships as fabs and engineering centers start scaling up. And engineering and IT services firms like L and AMP, T and CN. They're sitting on a gold mine because running facilities this complex burns through thousands of highly skilled engineers, and someone has to train, place, and support all of them. For entrepreneurs and business owners, here's where the trend line on our chart gets really interesting. It just keeps climbing. Real estate developers and commercial infrastructure players in Bangalore, Gujarat, Assam are already feeling the demand as facilities go up and workers relocate. If you're in staffing, facilities management, logistics, or B2B services in any of those regions, you are sitting right next to a growth engine. But, and this is the part people don't love talking about, the government is spending 1.6 trillion rupees in subsidies to make this happen. That's money not going into agriculture support, rural healthcare, or traditional manufacturing. If you operate in those spaces, government attention and capital are quietly shifting away from you. Not a crisis, but absolutely a trade-off worth watching. And globally, Vietnam and Malaysia, which have been aggressively chasing semiconductor investment, may find fewer takers now that India's in the room making a stronger pitch. The core rule here is simple. The closer you are to the semiconductor ecosystem, in geography, in skills, in services, the more you win. The further out you are, the more urgently you need to think about closing that gap. So now you know who's winning and why. Next, we're getting into what this actually means for India's long-term economic position and whether this bet pays off. So here's the question that actually matters. Can India pull this off? And more importantly, what does the answer mean for your next 5 years? Think of building a semiconductor industry like building a city from scratch. You don't just need the buildings. You need roads, schools, utilities, and people, all showing up at the same time. Miss one piece and the whole thing stalls. India is trying to build chip design, manufacturing, packaging, and equipment simultaneously. That's why 1.6 trillion rupees isn't just a big number. It's structurally necessary. Now, the government's playbook here has a name. Make plus invent. Instead of just importing chips forever, which is basically buying fish at a market every day, India wants to manufacture domestically. Learning to fish. And at the same time build the R&D muscle to design next-generation chips. That's inventing a better fishing rod. Applied Materials Collaborative Engineering Center in Bangalore sits right at the heart of that second part. It's not a factory floor. It's a brain trust, the invent engine of this whole dual strategy. Now for business owners, here's what the 5-year window actually looks like. By 2027 to 2028, as Micron's Gujarat facility hits full capacity and Applied Materials Center matures, demand is going to surge. Precision components, specialized logistics, engineering consulting, workforce training, even quality housing near these hubs. The businesses building relationships and presence inside these ecosystems right now will have a 3 to 4 year head start on everyone else. The risk is real too. If these subsidy-heavy investments don't generate returns fast enough, fiscal pressure could pump the brakes. But with $2.75 billion already committed by Micron alone, the momentum isn't hypothetical. Bottom line. India's semiconductor story is a decade long, and Chapter 1 is being written right now. The only question is which page your business is on. That's a wrap on this module. Thanks for watching.